Hey everyone, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here. It's an honor. It's always an honor for an artist to be seen, for
Of
people
course.
to recognize their work. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm a 3D character artist. I work in the gaming industry mainly, doing characters and real time and working from Brazil to companies abroad, outsourcing companies, and always learning.
That's great, Pedro. But now talking deep in what you're doing right now. So you have been, Pedro, participating in projects such as Blizzard's Diablo Immortal, which is a video game. Well, you're mostly in the video game part. Crystal
Yeah.
Born, also VR and AR games, and many other projects that you have done. So having this variety of remote projects, what challenges and experiences did you acquire in order to be part of them? And also, how was the level of difficulty in the ones that you can recall?
So the first projects that were known, which were when I worked for Share Creators about a year ago, maybe more, I worked on the Diablo Immortal and Crystal Born and others. So I had already been working for about 3 years, but I only started to actually have the portfolio and the quality in my work to call the attention of the kinds of companies that did somewhat bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I started to actually have clients that were very, very demanding. They were in good and bad ways. So which that's, you talk about challenges. There are technical challenge, there are artistic challenge, and also there are interpersonal challenges, I think.
Okay.
Which was dealing with clients, which can be difficult sometimes. Yeah. So the artistic challenges are exciting always, most of the time, because it's basically learning something new. When it's challenging, it's because you're at the edge of your abilities. So, and usually when it's challenging, it's because the client knows what they are doing, so they demand you high quality work, and to work with people that know what they are doing is great. So that's not usually that's not a big problem. You just have to push yourself and sometimes research and try to learn new things, and even ask the client. Many times I had to ask them how to do some things because I didn't know, and that was okay. They were always very patient. And then the technical challenges, they vary client to client. Every client has every project, not every client. Every project has its specific technical requirements, and you just have to know how to deal with that. Yeah.
And which one was the one that you really liked the most and you enjoy doing it?
Yeah, the one I enjoyed the most is the one that I'm doing right now, which is something that is good to notice and tell people, is that usually the jobs that I take are always, the next one is better than the one before, in payment wise and client wise, and the kind of project doing characters, because when I started, I didn't start doing characters. I started doing props and sofas and chairs, just because that was the only job that I had. That's basically regarding the quality of your portfolio. As your portfolio improves, the jobs improves as well.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pedro,
So
listen, I think something that everybody would be very interested in knowing, because nobody has a very clear idea, is money-wise, when you start in this business, let's say, I don't know how many jobs or how many projects working abroad have you had till this day?
Okay. So working abroad, there weren't many, maybe 5 or 10 or something like that. Just because I've been working for 5 years and I've been working abroad for 2. So I did many projects which weren't abroad. They were from to companies here in Brazil, usually not in the gaming industry, because the gaming industry here is just starting to get some weight.
Yeah,
Some notice. Yeah, with wildlife and other companies. So maybe 5 or 10 projects, something like that. So for Tokun, which I can't say which project, I can't say which project was, but
yeah,
they asked me not to say it in public.
yeah.
It's
Don't
my
worry.
LinkedIn if people want to know. Yeah. And for Upsurge Studios is for Pavlov VR, which is the one that I'm doing right now.
So let's say we have an example of someone in Latin America, any country that you can name, whatever country you want, and this guy is a 3D character artist, just like you, and he starts his career on job number 1, and it's not even the one he wants. Yeah. But let's say he wants to monetize his talent. So in a very small project, just to start, what would be the income of 1 year work for someone in that position?
The fair payment, which is for someone who's starting, which is something like $120 per day, something like that. But that rarely ever happens for people who's just starting. They usually just companies just pay, maybe doesn't pay anything or pay very little because they are
at the beginning, of course.
Yeah.
And once that person gets some traction and lands a better job, can you say that a 3D digital artist character artist, let's say, would have as an income like $1,500, $2,000, $1,000, $3,000 a month, something like that?
The sky is the limit, basically. It depends only on the quality of your work. $5,000 is an okay salary for people who live in US, and the whole industry works in US dollars. So everyone should get that. Actually, that's not for us who live in Latin America, that's a lot of money because it's converted. So, but if you live there, it's not that much. For companies themselves, even if they are not from US, it's not that much money because they get hired from other companies or their investors in US dollars. The whole market runs in US dollars. So,
and how difficult is it for someone to land an income like that at this stage on the pandemic era?
Yeah, it's getting easier and easier because the market is growing and it's getting easier for people to get hired remotely. What I usually tell people, and nowadays people are very anxious, and the young people, they think they should get paid like millions of dollars in the first year or something like that. I don't know what they think. Usually people come to me saying that they are frustrated and they can't get in the industry, they can't improve their work, and I ask them for how long they've been doing it, and they've been doing it for 1 year, and that's just you have just started when you've been doing it for 1 year. I've been as I said, I opened a 3D software the first time 8 years ago. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been doing it, studying very hard to get good at get good means becoming one of the best in the world, at least in one of the best of my country.
That's a very nice view.
Yeah, it's very hard, and you get sometimes it's hard to be so demanding of yourself. Yeah, ambitious, because you will inevitably get frustrated, but you just have to keep going, and when eventually.
But that's good. I mean, being ambitious is to, like, you really want something in your life. You really want to be somebody here. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good.
What I usually say is that I strive for excellence. Strive for excellence. That's basically it. I just don't want to be mediocre.
Exactly.
And
Excellent.
that kind of mentality makes you study a lot and try to always try not being satisfied with your work and try to improve it. So how hard it is to get a figure like that, it took for me about 4 years of working experience and about 6 years studying. Just for people who live in countries like Australia in in Europe or US, it's much easier because you can be hired like a trainee or an intern or a junior. For us who live in Latin America, you have to have a senior level work or at least a high level junior to get a job which good companies would trust you their projects.
What things catch your attention in order to apply to this company? And also, what tips would you give to these Latin American professionals that come from you, like 2D backgrounds, and they want to jump into 3D pipelines and video games? What tips would you give, and why did you choose also that company?
Yeah, so I didn't apply to them, so they just came to me. Actually, Upsurge was a friend of mine pointed me to them. That's something that happened in a while ago. I started to make some friends in the area, some networking, or it's not that I met them expecting that they would give me work. They just became friends because they do the same things that I do, and we talk, and they know that I can do what the company needs. So they pointed me to that company. But it happens almost like 99% of the jobs that I had, actually 100% of the jobs that I got so far, I didn't get applying. They saw my portfolio on the internet, on ArtStation or LinkedIn or Instagram, and they saw the.
So you have good connections then, like.
Yeah, what I do with my work is that, which is actually I consider the least you have to do, is make a portfolio that shows the company that you can work. So it's not just you have works that look as good as you can, the best you can do visually, but also show the technical aspects of the project so that you show. So retopology, UVs, baking, and
like the whole process.
Yeah, show the whole process so they can, if they find you on ArtStation, they can quickly scroll and see that you can do the job. And also put your contact right next to it so they can easily find you. That's the least you have to do. So I didn't apply. What happens for us that live in countries which the gaming industry is almost non-existent, is that the jobs that you get applying are usually for AAA companies, AAA studios, because they just don't spend the time looking for people on the internet. They just wait. They are famous, so they wait for people to apply. So the best of the best usually get applying. So far, I've been getting jobs not applying because I've been getting jobs for outsourcing studios, which are not, they work in AAA projects, but they are not AAA companies in the sense that they work for another studio. They are third-party studios. Yeah, that's the name. So that's why I didn't get jobs applying. So far, I'm just starting to call the attention of AAA companies. That's something that is still to happen in my life.
Wow, that's different from other artists it's a different story from other artists that they have been in another situation.
Yeah, I know there are friends of mine that got jobs applying that never worked for me. I don't know why.
What do you think us and I mean Latin Americans that would like to help other Latin Americans, would do in order to provide a better way to land those opportunities for talented professionals.
So you're talking about professionals or companies?
I'm talking about any kind of activity that companies like Nova or people like you can be part of in order to promote and to make things easier for high talented professionals in Latin America.
I think what's missing here is an industry itself, so that the high level professionals can consider staying here, because as long as there are no great good companies that makes people stay here, we are keep going abroad, because that's where the great projects are, the great money is, and that's where the professional growth is too. If Blizzard or Sony Santa Monica calls you, are you going to stay or go? Probably go.
Exactly.
And there are no companies here in Latin America that are even close, that do things that are even close to that, what they do, and that's what's missing. I'm actually I have a positive view for the future in that sense, because I think that what's been happening here in Brazil is that the most talented artists are working there and coming back, because they realize that's not paradise, that's work anyway. There are deadlines, and you have to take the subway, and you have to obey the boss and everything, just like any job. So they are coming back, and eventually I think we are going to see uh, studios led by them to doing great things, and eventually stay. But there are the remote work possibility, which you can stay and make a lot of money.